Get 5 coffins ready.
What's up everybody, Shmoke here, and today we're doing a tier list for support in Smite in patch 11.2. So this is going to be for Diamond and below, that's where I have all my experience. So let's just dive right into this. So Achilles I think is actually pretty good. He is a little matchup dependent, because like it depends how good the execute's going to be. Like, are you against things like Ganesh, Capri, Emir? Well, maybe not Emir because it can be walled off, but like Terra, Yamoja, stuff like that where you can just like blow right past their CC and you just boom execute them. It doesn't matter that they're a tank. And also the lane pressure is pretty good as well. The level 2 is great. There's just a lot of good things going for Achilles right now. In the solo, like the thing is though, his solo lane is like kind of whatever. Like the laning phase for him, it's actually not that good. So it's actually better if you're a support roaming around with this looming threat of the execute in good matchups, you know, where they can't really get away from it, where you use it to break CC and just burst right through them and stuff like that. Just a little dependent, but I think he is probably better as a support than a soul laner. Because like you got to wait so long before you rotate out of the soul lane, and like from level 5 on, Achilles is very strong everywhere on the map, so yeah. Ama, I probably wouldn't play support, although I love her. Afro, probably still S. I don't see that much Afro, but she does also get banned a lot because the character is just such a pain to deal with. Really great lane pressure early. Just, if you're playing Afro, just be wary of those level 2 ganks. Ask your jungler to come over for a level 2 gank to try and get you guys ahead, and you're flying. I think the character is great. You just can't die early. That's the only stipulation. That's literally it. I think the god's good. I mean, if you want to know other things, obviously she brings the healing, brings the immunity, depending on how much you need, how much immunities you need, and the damage as well. Really solid early damage. And the lockdown, of course, is crazy too. If you pair her with like an on her, it's funny. The amount of damage, the frustration percent damage thing, you know, jealousy, not frustration, the jealousy bonus with like an on her passive basic attacks, it's funny how much damage it does. Ares is S as well for very similar reasons, but I think he does it a little bit better because obviously the damage is way higher. The CC is a little bit more, you know, if you're able to hit all 3 chains. But the number one thing for me is the wave clear with Ares. Ares is 3 actually just that it's an execute for minions apparently. It's crazy how much it does to jungle camps, how much it does to the minion wave early. It's such an enabler for level 2 ganks and just like pressuring them out so you get every single thing on the map and you can go for potential invades with Ares extremely easily. Just really snowball. Obviously the same issue as always with Ares is you know, the CC is really not that great late game, but the difference maker here, the 2 makes him so tanky, and there's so many good aura items like Mystical, Void, Doe, whatever it's called, stuff like that. When you have all that stuff with your 2 on, you can actually trade with like ADCs, and like especially warriors and mages and stuff. You can trade with them no problem as Ares. It's actually criminal. Is completely criminal. And the ultimate, if you're able to get it on multiple targets, is always going to be good. Going to be a good beads burner. If you pull somebody, they're dead. But he is another one where you can get behind early, but you really shouldn't though. If you get behind on Ares, you have misplayed. Probably, almost certainly you've misplayed. With Afro, it's a little more like, okay, that was a level 2 gank. We probably actually couldn't have survived that. We probably should have been a little bit more careful. But like with Ares, he can turn level 2 ganks like 3v2 and like force them away with his damage and slows sometimes. And works with Horrific. Speaking of slows, works with Horrific really well. So yeah, probably there. RTO I don't really believe in. Some people put it pretty high up because they're like, oh, you get a Mystical Mail as well as this here Void item. It's quite good damage. But the god just kind of dies. Her CC's not nearly good enough. Her damage isn't nearly good enough, in my opinion. The wave pressure, she has an okay level 2. If you want to enable level 2 gank. She's good with Horrific as well. It's just, she doesn't quite have what it takes. She doesn't quite have that big boom. That's the reason to pick RTO right now is this. She doesn't really have that. There's just other Guardians who, you know, have a lot of pressure as well and have a lot of, you know, like OKCC with solid damage like RTO has, but have an ultimate. You know what I mean? So, kind of rough for RTO right now. Maybe even lower. It depends on the matchup. If you're against like a global, it can be really bad with RTO because she's so slow. And like hard to it's hard for her to like hard stop something from happening because she has to be like in someone's face just to stun them. Everything else is soft CC, so it can feel pretty bad. Yeah, you know what? I really think she's down here. I love this god, one of my favorites, but yeah, I think she's down there. Athena, I think, is still S tier. It's just she's pretty susceptible to dying pre level 5, and if you just try and farm that Athena and try and keep her behind, it can go pretty well. But you can't deny that the global ultimate is just kind of unfair and ranked when the communication is not as tight. I mean, I don't know if you've watched my Twitch channel or anything, but it was it was I was against Guan as Osiris. Absolutely slam him, give him the slammage damage. I'm about like 80% HP, he's 50%. I have him under this tower. Help is on the way from Athena, and then he just ults. He just ults with the movement speed from Athena. I can't get away from it. They just dogpile me. One time I ult away immediately. They still catch up to me because of the movement speed on the Athena ultimate, and they just crash under tower and they kill me. And the other time I wait for him to stun me with the ultimate and let the ultimate drop on me, and then I leap away, and they still just dash on me and I died. I hate it. It's painful what this guy is able to enable. But you know, in the same vein, it's like once in team fights, once the taunt is down, yeah, she's kind of bad. She kind of doesn't do anything. So that's the one saving grace that's going to keep her probably at the back of S tier, I would say. But the global lets her control the game so easily. Like it's just free. Just like press 4, I now have control over the entire game. I can choose whatever lane I want to win. That one, yeah, it's gonna win now. It's gonna win this fight here. Generally speaking, because the ultimate also just does like 500 damage for some reason. I don't know why. Atlas, he's good as like a counter to like hyper carries and like gods who dive you really hard. He's really good as like anti-dive and stuff like that. So he's a little specific, but he does have good wave pressure early. Has really solid damage. And the ultimate is so nasty in team fights. If you place it on the right target, you make someone pointless in the fight. You make him easy to kill. You make him do no damage. It's an awesome ultimate. But you got to place the ultimate on the right target. And after you place the ultimate, the character is kind of whatever. He doesn't have the most CC. And a lot of his CC is very slow. So you literally just like, you have your support sit on him. And then he can't do anything. Because he starts any ability. Most other support abilities are going to come out faster and interrupt him. And then he's just going to feel pointless. But I can't deny the ultimate is probably good enough for him to be there. He can get farmed though. Pretty hard. Like RTO style bad. Bacchus is probably A. I don't quite like him more than Achilles because like all he really does is not die and do a lot of damage. But it's kind of undeniable how good that is in the early and mid game. Yeah, but Bacchus, built-in anti-heal, decent CC, good range, with the flop especially. Good level 2 gank enabler, so tanky, so tanky. Hurts how much he tanks. Doesn't hurt him clearly. Decent damage as well, and like the intoxicate on the ultimate. If you don't have something effective to ultimate like CC Mutant ult, get out of that intoxicate, it can really mess up your day. But yeah, I mean, there are some inherent flaws, like his 3 being so bad. His 3 is so bad. You just cancel it right out, and he doesn't have a stun anymore. He only has a knock-up in the Intoxicate. But yeah, he has his uses for sure. You can play him in most matches, and it's going to be pretty good. Just don't pick him into a Wheelix. Well, honestly, if you get a Wheelix ulted, you're probably going to live anyways, so pick him into a Wheelix all you like. Bake, yeah, definitely S tier. Probably the best, I would say. Once people discovered how good he was in support, people started letting him through for like 2 days, and then people realized how good he was in support, and they kept banning him because God's just completely unfair. Infinite, like as much damage as Ares for twice as long with as much CC. Criminal God. I hate him with a burning passion because either way, you play him solo, you play him support. He just builds full tank, and nobody can kill him, and he kills everybody. No matter how long it takes, he'll outlast you most of the time. There are definitely counters. You can sunder him, you can horrific him, you can root sprint him, stuff like that. Little things like that, they can help a lot. You can disarm him with Bologna. That's very effective. Yeah, just on the whole, though, very, very difficult to counter. And the counter, he's so tanky that the counters, he outlasts the counters, and then he just goes on doing what he's going to do. Feels very unfair. It's very Achilles actually in this sort of way, where it's like his laning phase is good, but it's just like I might as well just be roaming around the map with this god instead, inflicting my terror on everybody. Karakin's like, I don't know. You gotta have a good target for the ultimate. or you don't play the god. But he's not. It's not like he's terrible because the CC's pretty fast. He's a pretty good peel god actually. He's very good at peeling for his teammates, and he just creates so much disruption with his 3 as well. And the wall has so many uses. Even though you are using, it's not like a mirror where you just throw off the wall and like 10 seconds later you have it again. It is an ultimate that you're expending, but it is useful. It is definitely useful. But yeah, I would say Artio is probably better than him. But I mean, he still has his uses here and there. Serb just gets shut out is his only problem. Like, if he could stop his 2, the character instantly stops becoming an enabler and just becomes a bot. But he has a lot of the same strengths that Atlas does. He just sits on a target with his abilities, and it becomes harder and harder to try and play the game because you're just like you're an ADC and you just have this fat dog on you, shredding all of your protections, taking all of your lifesteal away from you. It's just like, well, okay, I can kind of play the game, but it's much harder with this guy on me. But he's pretty killable. Oh yeah, they made that serve change, didn't they? With his if you kill a god ghost, something else happens. I don't really know how that's affected him so far, so I'll leave him here. Chunga, probably not. Probably don't play this god. Charon's another S tier, probably below Ares because his level 2 is not that good. So if you do level 2, level 3 gank, not going to be nearly as effective as Ares, but still such an enabler of painful things. He's actually closer to Afro with how he plays because you use your range and you play around your teammates and you just enable them to do everything. Give them a shield, slow the enemy's attack speed, interrupt the enemy's abilities for your teammates. I mean, ugh. Eset's okay. Yeah. I would put her like down here because Kabrakan, at least I can see in my mind gods that I might want to wall in with Kabrakan actually, but with Eset it's like, what am I really playing this for? Fun. That's kind of the only thing. Otherwise, just pick Afro, maybe Hell instead, or maybe just go like a more damaging Guardian or something like that. Like this guy has shields, and that's kind of it. The shield is really the only good thing about her. So like, what is Charon, Ares, Afro? Are they all banned? If they are, maybe consider Eset, or maybe just go Bacchus instead. I don't really see the point of the character, because she doesn't do a lot of damage either. But it's not like she's terrible. I wouldn't say she's like terrible. But I played her a few times this season. I was just like, okay. Like it's not bad, but I didn't really see anything good going on. Faf is actually pretty good. I would say he's probably the best of these are like enabler, like stuff the enemy ADC away kind of gods. I would say he's like one of the better ones at that. And like he enables his team to do a lot, but you need to be decisive and choose the right teammate to play through with Fafnir, I would say. And the thing is, Fafnir might not be the god you want enabling them. You might want an Afro instead, for example, to give them like movement speed and immunities rather than just like give them damage and stuns and slows with an attack speed. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of with the Fafnir 2 and Hammer and stuff like that. Like you gotta be really decisive with this god, and if you make one wrong choice, it can cost you the game because like his stuff has all like so limiting in terms of not necessarily range, but like it's all pretty hard to hit. To be honest with you, like the Hammer's not too bad, but the Dragon Spit is pretty hard. The Dragon Leap is pretty hard. The Dragon 2 is pretty hard. No, I'm kidding. But speaking of Dragon 2, shreds objectives really well and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think maybe Atlas is a little bit better. Yeah, I would say Atlas is better. But he does what he does, and he does it fine. He has a little more purpose than someone like an Eset. Yeah, Ganesh is really solid. I'd maybe put him top of A because he does die. Pretty free kill on the map, this Ganesh guy. Yeah, if you get Ganesh behind, there's not much the god can do, and he can feel pretty ineffectual sometimes. If they have like a wing blade or a sprint to plow through your ultimate, it can feel pretty bad. You need to be able to get in there with your silence and keep the silence on people, and then also get like a 3 on them as well. But certainly a good laner, a good level 2 enabler as well. Good god. He's a good god. He just gets picked sometimes. Gets picked too easily sometimes. That's really it. Geb's great. Probably S tier. Probably below Afro though. He just does so much damage. Like every time I see a Geb like press 2, like 1-2 on somebody, I'm like, oh my god, wait, that Geb's building damage. Oh my god, that's hilarious. He's not building damage. He's full tank, and he just like half hits somebody. It's like, huh? Why is he allowed to do that? But in terms of his laning is actually not that good. He typically needs a really strong ADC with him and like a level 2 gank to come over and try and get them ahead. He really needs like a strong ADC character with him, or just like don't bother picking the god. But there are a lot of strong early game ADCs who aren't getting banned. Like, for instance, Hachi and Anher's ban rates, not actually that high. And there's a lot of other like ADCs you can try and pair with him to try and boost that early game stat. And then once you reach late game with Gabby, he makes it really hard to play the game when you're playing into him. And obviously the anti-crit matters a little bit less this patch. Maybe it matters less enough that like I want him maybe top of A. Yeah, I would say like top of A. I would say that's fair. Just because crit got nerfed again. That would be my biggest reason for putting him there. Guan, like for funsies, probably. Gilga, he's probably another one where it's like, it has its uses to really lock down certain targets and like try and trade it out with certain basic attack based gods. But I don't really see a point to playing him in support too much. Not terrible. He certainly has good rotations, but his mana sustain is pretty weak as well. He does utilize War Flag pretty well, but you got to be able to really bully the lane, your lane opponents. And if you get level 2 ganked, his peel's pretty good. But on the whole, I wouldn't see he's the best level 2 fighter either. I don't know if I put it this low. He has his uses. I'll put him maybe back here. Right. Herc maybe like back here. Just dies too easily, I would say. Like, you get his push down, and then he just dies early. You can farm him pretty easily. Horus is pretty good. Maybe, like, here. I like that. I like that for Horus. Definitely a good enabler, but just like with how good Hunter mids are, it can be kind of hard to justify putting him in support. But if you have a mage mid, yeah, he's a fine support. Nothing really wrong with him necessarily, just a little slow. That's the main thing for me. He's just a little slow with everything he does. A bit like a Bacchus, but like at least Bacchus is more tanky than Horus is. So he's got that going for him. But Horus has better movement. So, I mean, this like gives and takes here. That just like with this global ultimate though, you don't always find like you can use your ultimate 4 or 5 times in a match, and like each one was like ineffectual. It just didn't really affect anything. You got to an objective quicker, maybe you maybe picked off 1 or 2 kills with the ultimate. It just doesn't have that crazy impact that you want from an ultimate every time you use it, but it can help you end games, help you cheese ends and stuff like that. It can all do that. It's just not every single game you play him you're gonna feel that impact. Yeah, Shell, I would probably play for fun. Yorm, good old Toasty Toast. Yeah, I'll put him like here. Better than East set, I would say. Just because the wave pressure is insane. But same deal with like why Yorm is good in solo and not support. It's just because like his CC falls off late game. His CC and damage falls off. So definitely more of a bad impact in the support role. Capri's really good though. Just only problem, Ow, Achilles. Actually, it'd be funny if I put him here. Below Achilles. Ow, Achilles, Thanatos, all really relevant. So, yeah. You have to really be careful picking him. So it's kind of hard to justify putting him this high. But his lane is so good. Laning with Khepri is like... Have you heard of Jesus? It's like laning with Jesus, essentially. Like, yeah, it's so nice, laning with the Khepri. It feels like you can't lose. Unless it's like a horrible, horrible matchup. Like you pick Jingwei into like... Kuzenbo on her or something like that, like something that bad. That's the level you need to like properly lose lane with a Khepri on your side. So it's a bit like a Geb. We're just like pick an aggressive ADC with him. It'll feel good, definitely. Oh no, Kumba. Yeah, Kumba's pretty bad, but he has his uses. I would say probably back here. I don't think he's like you almost never want to pick him unless like you want to pick him and you know he has a good matchup. I think probably better than Herc overall. Jesus confirmed for Smite 2, definitely. Yeah, renamed to Khepri though, just to keep people happy. Yeah, I mean the Mez has its uses, and the Root Cripple is really effective too. Good lane pressure as well. Oh yeah, Kuzenbo probably S. Probably a little bit below Charon, just because Charon's a little bit more mobile, has a little bit more straight up team fight presence with the ultimate, whereas Kuzenbo's is a little more direct on like a single target. But yeah, really hard to lane against this guy. Really hard to play an ADC against this guy. Pain. Just pain playing against Kuzenbo a lot of the time. And like every time I play Kuzenbo in support, I always feel like I have at least some small impact. There's always something I can do on this god. I can be slowing somebody. I can be reflecting damage back on somebody who's blocking the damage. I can be pushing someone into a wall to peel. I can be peeling with the ultimate right on top of somebody. One of my teammates, you know. There's always something little I can do, but it's not quite as good as like Ares aggression early, Charon shield, Aphrodite ultimates, those stuff like that. It's not quite as good, but yeah, I would still put him up here. Next up's Maui. Maui's weird. Maui's a really weird god because he should be really good, but he's just okay for the most part. The pull is pretty counterable. Most people know how to play against the pull at this point. Most characters can actually deal with it pretty well, especially right now. There's a lot of ADCs who can cancel it themselves. So that's a little painful. But the leap's good. The leap is a good stun. Ultimate's great if you can land on someone who doesn't have a knockup immunity. Probably better than most of these guys. Yeah, probably below Horus, though. That feels good for Maui. I wish he was a little bit better, but yeah, I think it's also just a big thing like Thanatos in the jungle role. Like, people just know how to play against him better now. So you gotta be a little bit more decisive, and you gotta be really accurate with your hooks, or else the character's gonna feel a lot more pointless. And you're gonna have to pick him a little later to make sure the hook's actually powerful. I'm not just gonna get stopped every time you use it. Nox, actually, she's like a better E set, I would say. Maybe back here, probably above Gilga. Above Serb, they actually kind of do a very similar thing. Nox actually locks down harder, but it's the same idea where it's like, I'm just going to apply some sort of debuff on you, Nox with the damage debuff and like the silence and stuff like that, Serb with the anti-heal, and just kind of sit on you and just like make you not do anything. And then the leap's really, not the leap, the dash is really good for getting like a get out of jail free card with your teammates. A lot of nice little combos you could do with that, like Thor and Mercury and stuff like that. And Apollo as well, if you want to just like hop into an Apollo if something goes bad. There's a lot of fun little things you can do with this god. It just feels like there's not too many things she can stop right now. Like, she can stop Ares. She's good into Ares. But yeah, it's just like, who's she directly countering right now? Maybe a Thor. When a Thor lands, you Nox combo that. Thanatos, she has a harder time into. Susano, decent. So there's just like certain things that she's decent into. It's just she's not a true hard counter to anything other than maybe Ares. I would say she can hard stop Ares. So that's good. That's something effective. Yeah, Odin. You just gotta have a really good matchup for Odin to go into. But I would say he's probably the top of the. Well, if I have Herc here, maybe like that. That feels better. Shiva, I mean, he does what he does, but he just doesn't have an Achilles execute is the only thing. Very similar to Gilgamesh. But Gilga has better late game lockdown. But Shiva his ult's really effective in those mid game team fights. So I'll put him like there. Oh yeah, Sobek. Wow, so many S gods. Wow, I almost went right past Sobek. He's pretty good. It's similar to Bacchus in a lot of ways. I would say better than Atlas. But I wouldn't say he's better than Bacchus, because Bacchus has a better confirm on his knockup, and is slightly tankier. But they actually are like basically the same character, to be honest. Like really long-lasting, low CC ultimate, high impact, long range, hard CC on a main ability, and really tanky with the passive. So there you go. That's Sobek. Can't really go wrong with this god, but if you get behind, it's a lot worse than getting behind on like some of these other characters up here. That's the one thing I don't like about Sobek. Sylvanas has a lot of early pressure. So he's actually not bad. I would say Sylvanas is actually pretty good. Maybe not as good as these guys. Maybe like here. That feels good. Because he has a lot of early pressure, but he just kind of dies. And if he's against executes, it's over because he dies so fast. But if he doesn't get behind, he enables his teammates to get ahead. You know, he's basically he's like a budget Ares, I would say. Does similar things to Ares, but just not quite as well. But you still can't deny he is good at getting his teammates ahead and stuff. So Terra is a really good diver. Ares exists though, so you gotta make sure Ares is banned. But then you can pick Terra. I'd probably put her like maybe above Sobek. It's a little hard to say. If you're against a lot of knockups, I would say he's better than Sobek. She's better than Sobek. And you know, the healing not too effective on the ult. The healing on the ult is pretty effective, but the healing on her on her 3, not that great. The damage is pretty good though. Damage is pretty formidable. The stun, once you get, I mean, her 2 is so awful, horrid to use. Yeah, Carolina, I agree. You don't see a lot of Terra because she feels terrible to play as. No pun intended. I think this god feels so bad to play. But her dive is great. Her stun is great. She has more survivability than a lot of other guardians. That's why I put her above like Sobek, because she's not do or die like Sobek. Like she can actually she can straight up dash in twice and then just ult, and she'll probably still live. Is the thing, especially once you get CR going on her. So. And her aggression is good too. She's one of those gods where if she's not level 3, she's not nearly as effective, so that level 2 isn't very good. But I think she's still definitely better than people think. But she's another one where you do not pick her into an Ares and do not get behind on this god because you will probably lose. But if you do get behind, you do take a lot of damage. You do die very fast, but at least you can get your ultimate off and stuff like that. So there's that going for her. Like she can still suicide for an engage and just like have it still be pretty effective, So she has that going for her. So Terra T down here, place it. Jing is pretty good though. This is the god I was thinking of when I was saying why pick Artio when there's like gods like Jing out here. Very similar idea to these guys, where it's just like big disablers. I think Atlas is still better than Jing as a disabler, but yeah, I'll put him like here. It's so good into like double ADC because he just yells at them, and then they do. How much is it now? 50% less damage or something crazy. They upped it to something crazy. He shuts them down really well, but it's not. It would have been better last patch because this patch it doesn't reduce their kin's damage or their Odysseus bow damage, which is what's relevant right now. So unfortunate on that regard. But he still has a lot of aggression. Similar idea to Sylvanas. Just like try and get your teammate ahead with your early pressure, and it's probably going to work. And just scream at the thing is, if you get behind on him, you could still just press 1 on an ADC, and you've helped out in the team fight. So that's a good benefit. Jing is X right now. So Yamoja. I don't see enough Yamoja, but I would say she's probably around here somewhere. Maybe higher, because she does have range, right? And range in the dual lane is really good right now, just to force people out. So probably here. Here feels pretty good. Maybe like there, maybe there, maybe there, maybe there. I don't know. I'll just put her there for now. Why not? Well, actually, having Achilles and Kepri next to each other is too funny. But every time I see Emoja, she's pretty effective. Her 3 is still crazy strong. You can't really spam her 1. Because you really need to rely on your 3 to keep effective. But the sustain's really nice with her. A good Umoja ultimate will still ruin your day. Ruin a gank. More importantly than your day. It'll ruin like a jungle gank on your teammates and stuff. So yeah, I think she still has every single tool she needs. She herself just dies though. She does die a lot. She dies pretty easily. And I don't know. It feels like more of a short thing than Ganesh though. Is the thing. She feels like she has a slightly better... Well, the lockdown's not as good. Alright, let's just go to Ymir for now. Yeah, this god kind of just dies. But the wall is great. The wall is great. I will say he's probably better than Kabrakan and Artio. Maybe Artio's a little bit better because her laning is a little bit nicer and she's a little safer. But if it just depends how good the wall is. If the wall is good, he could jump up to B or maybe back of A. But yeah, all things considered, it's really easy to kill this god, and yeah, it's just a big shame. You don't even need a nemesis or anything to kill him. You just walk up to this guy, don't crowd around the cone of his freeze, and then you just kill him. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then you got to be able to have a good Ymir wall. So you need things to team with an Ymir wall too. What's something that's easy to run away from? Let's say a Lance ultimate or something like that. Then you can Ymir wall right behind the Lance ult and they can't walk away from it anymore. Stuff like that. You can combo with certain things and it's pretty nice. And you can block certain things like Discordia Apple, Merkle, things like that. And it's pretty nice. It's just very niche and you need to get items online like a Wingblade and stuff like that to try and not die on this god. And that's just something these other gods don't need to do. So, oh hell, there you go. There's one I missed. Yeah, hell, she's not great. Maybe there. Up a hill there. Dies too easily, but she has a lot of fun, and once she gets going, she's not bad. Just not great. You need to cleanse, like, exactly like a mirror ball. You need something to cleanse, otherwise, like, why are you picking that god? You know? Rips or catch support? Yeah, that I would say is, like, there, maybe. What about Scotty support, actually? For fun, it's pretty good. You can kill pretty easily. Well, that is the end of the tier list. This is the support tier list for 11.2. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know what you would change. And thank you for watching.